I spent the past week having my head dug in the books again, which I absolutely loved. And I was writing or co-writing a new chapter on existential coaching with my colleague Monica Hannaway. We both drafted sections, but this past week I really dove into the depth of trying to bring that all together. And I was reminded how much I love pulling together intellectual concepts, working creatively, and really giving existential coaching a stage or a foundation to evolve. Right, we have a lot of foundation that we can evolve in, but it was some time to pull in some of the resources together. The book has a focus on the evidence base behind coaching and various approaches to coaching. So that was one of the main things to write about. What is there in the literature on existential coaching? How far have we taken it? And is there such thing as evidence when it comes to coaching? Um, it's tricky enough to find outcome research on coaching in terms of how effective it is, because there's so many confounding variables. And with an approach like existential coaching, it's particularly difficult because it's not one thing. It's more of a lens on the practice, an approach to the work, rather than a method or a model or a process to follow. Right. So, nonetheless, there's so much in the literature that existential coaching is built on, and it was a joy to pull some of that together. When we look at the literature behind existential coaching, while we don't, and most of coaching doesn't have a lot of good outcome research, as in measuring the effectiveness of the intervention, what existential coaching has is that it sits on a rich tapestry of philosophy. And that's the first layer that existential coaching is standing on, right? What existential thinkers, philosophers, playwrights, authors, um, speakers have gathered around. What does it mean to exist? What makes life meaningful, if anything? What are the challenges, the dilemmas, the paradoxes that people carry around in their day-to-day experience? It doesn't need to be huge existential questions that all come crashing down on us, in a once in a lifetime situation like a global pandemic, for example. They are life in everyday human experience. When we choose lunch, or who we might want to ask out on a date, or whether to go home or to continue working, or what my next career move might be, or how can I resolve a conflict with somebody I love, right? While maintaining an authentic voice. Choices are there every day for people. And so many choices are being avoided or suppressed or not recognized as being choices. And that's what existential philosophers and thinkers are talking about, right? How does the existential experience show up in everyday living as we navigate our life and our career? Existential themes matter. They're always at play. So if we pay attention to that, and many, especially existential psychotherapists and counselors, have made links between everyday human experience and existential themes. And I think in existential therapy, more than perhaps in other forms of therapy, we're not pathologizing, right? It's not about, oh, you're broken or you're wrong or there's something wrong with you. A lot of the things that people struggle with and suffer and seek therapy for, they're just life. They're problems of living, harsh environments, difficult dilemmas and challenges, really tricky breakdowns of structures in our lives. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with us. It's just that, life is often that hard. So that's also what existential coaching is based on. Psychotherapists making links between human lived experience and existential philosophical themes. And then there's a rich literature on phenomenology and phenomenological inquiry, really holding space for people to tune into their experience, into the phenomenon of what they're experiencing. This this can be applied to absolutely anything that we experience, right? That's why it's such a valuable way of allowing new meaning to emerge for people. And there's a number of existential coaches who base the existential coaching approach specifically on phenomenology and phenomenological inquiry, based on, for example, in the works of Viktor Frankl, which many people may know, and the author of Man's Search for Meaning, the creator of logotherapy. So this existential phenomenological approach often is a basis for existential coaching work. But then within that, you have so many different ways of interpreting how to work phenomenologically, or what to base existential coaching on. So yeah, in this latest book chapter really was great to pull different strains of existential coaching together, what literature they're standing on, and how that might be applied in practice.